What if your next vacation spot was someone else's sacred ground? What if the trail you hiked was once a prayer path? And what if the sunset photo you snapped overlooked a site where time, tradition, and tears still live? Across the United States, long before state borders and highway signs, indigenous nations called this land home. They built cities from soil, mapped the stars from mountaintops, and honored every rock, river, and ridge. Today, many of those sacred places are still here, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be seen, not as tourist stops, but as teachings. This is a journey across 28 Native American places you can still visit today. If you go with open eyes, a quiet step, and a respectful heart. To most hikers, Wyoming's Devil's Tower is a striking climb. But to Native nations like the Lakota, Kiowa, and Cheyenne, it's something far deeper, something sacred. They call it Bear Lodge, and the legend says a giant bear clawed the rock to save 7 girls who fled to the sky and became stars. This wasn't a summit to conquer. It was, and still is, a place of prayer. A vertical altar reaching skyward. So if you visit, take in the view, but also take a breath. This isn't just a natural wonder, it's a spiritual one. White Sands National Park is surreal, rolling dunes of pure white gypsum. But hidden beneath those dunes, footprints, human footprints, over 12,000 years old. They walk beside those giant sloths and mammoths, frozen in time. These aren't just footprints. They're a living record of some of the first Americans, indigenous people navigating a harsh, ancient world. Today you can hike these dunes, feel the sun and sand. But remember, every step might echo someone else's first. In southern Ohio, the earth rises in an ancient curve, a snake winding across 1,300 feet of soil. This is Serpent Mound, an effigy built by indigenous cultures over 1,000 years ago. Its coils align with the summer solstice and lunar events, marking time with cosmic precision. No bones have been found here, no signs of battle. Just mystery. Astronomy? Ceremony? Maybe both. You can walk the rim trail above it, but what it means may always remain underground. High in the Bighorn Mountains, a stone circle sits quietly. It's called the Medicine Wheel, a sacred site used for centuries by Native peoples for vision quest, Sota ceremonies, and reflection. The 28 spokes of the wheel align with stars and the horizon, ancient architecture with a celestial soul. You can only reach it in the summer, after a 3-mile hike. But when you arrive, the wind falls silent, time stretches, and the land listens. You've heard of Mount Rushmore, but did you know it was carved into the Black Hills? a place sacred to the Lakota people. Before it was a symbol of America, it was a spiritual heartland. A place of origin stories, of prayer circles, of ancestors buried beneath the pines. To this day, many Lakota refuse to visit the monument because for them, the carving is not just a defacement, it's a desecration. It's a reminder that sacred doesn't mean untouched. It means misunderstood. Some sacred places were shaped by wind and time. Others were shaped by human hands. What if we told you North America had cities older than London? Star observatories before telescopes, and civilizations we're only just beginning to understand. Let's go where the past was built from earth, stone, and genius. In Colorado's cliffs, entire villages cling to stone like swallows to a canyon wall. This is Mesa Verde, home to the ancestral Puebloans for more than 700 years. And yes, it's older than the pyramids of Giza. Built with sandstone, timber, and mud mortar, some of these homes were tucked so far into the cliffed alcoves that ladders and courage were once the only way in. You can still climb into these spaces, see the soot from ancient fires, feel the wisdom carved into each beam. Mesa Verde isn't a ruin, it's a living memory, chiseled into rock. Rising 90 feet above Arizona's desert floor, is a 5-story stone dwelling, tucked into a cliff like an eagle's nest. This is Montezuma Castle, named incorrectly after the Aztec emperor. He never lived here, but the Sanawa people did, masters of farming, water use, and architecture. "20 rooms, no elevators, no invasions. Built to survive, and they did." You can walk the trail loop and see it still standing 800 years later. A fortress of ingenuity. Straddling the border of Utah and Colorado, in a place most travelers never go, sits a sight so still, it whispers. Hovenweep. It means deserted valley, but what it holds is far from empty. Here, the ancestral Pueblans built stone towers without mortar, perfectly balanced, still upright after centuries of wind and time. Why towers? For defense? For ceremony? For watching stars? No one's sure. But as you walk the rim trail alone, you'll feel it. This wasn't abandonment. This was intentional silence. After a volcano erupted in the 1100s, the land near Sunset Crater became unexpectedly fertile. So indigenous communities adapted. They built Wupatki, a thriving training hub with ball courts, great houses, and rooms that once echoed with ritual and trade. The red sandstone ruins still stand under the desert sky. And while the people moved on, the layout, the vision, and the stories remain in the stones. In the canyon walls of New Mexico, the past is carved into the rock itself. This is Bandelier National Monument, where the ancestral Puebloans hollowed homes into volcanic tuff. Walls still hold paintings. Kivas still whisper ceremony. You can climb into the dwellings if you're respectful. This isn't just a hike, it's a home tour. 800 years in the making. Just outside modern-day St. Louis, where highways now roar and baseball fans cheer. Once stood Cahokia. It was the largest indigenous city north of Mexico, over 40,000 people at its peak, around 1050 AD. Monk's Mound, a 100-foot pyramid of soil, still dominates the landscape. Nearby were markets, plazas, observatories, and even neighborhoods. Cahokia was a metropolis, and most Americans have never heard of it. You can climb the mound today. And when you stand at the top, try to imagine the skyline that once was. Further south in Alabama lies another indigenous capital, Moundville. Built by the Mississippian culture around 1200 AD, it rivaled London in size and sophistication. Over 24 ceremonial mounds rise from the landscape. Priests, artists, astronomers, traders. This was a center of life, learning, and leadership. Today there's a museum, trails, and a calmness that feels almost sacred. "3,400 years ago, yes, before Stonehenge, an advanced community built massive ridges and a 72-foot mound in what's now northeastern Louisiana. This is Poverty Point. A bustling trade empire that pulled goods from across the continent, copper from the Great Lakes, shells from the Gulf, and ideas from far beyond. It's called poverty only because we misunderstood its power. Walk the ridges. Visit the museum. And remember, Greatness doesn't always leave stone temples. Sometimes it's found in the earth. You've heard of pyramids in Egypt. But did you know Georgia has them too? At Ocmulgee Mounds, indigenous builders raised earthen pyramids for ceremony and cosmic alignment over 1,000 years ago. Inside a reconstructed earth lodge, you can still see the sacred fire pit, the council seats, and the beam-lined ceiling that once saw stars through smoke. It's not ancient history. It's indigenous science. In Iowa's driftless region, the very land has been sculpted into story. More than 200 animal-shaped mounds stretch across Effigy Mountains National Monument. Bears, birds, serpents, built with precise form and spiritual purpose. Each one is a sacred offering, a burial, a boundary, a bridge between worlds. If you hike here, look down, but never walk on them. These mounds aren't for selfies. They're for memory. Deep in New Mexico's desert, a city once rose from the dust. Its walls tall, its corridors precise, its rooftops aligned with the stars. This was Chaco Canyon, a central hub for the ancestral Puebloans. With buildings 4 stories tall, roads stretching for miles, and solar markers that track time. It wasn't just a city. It was a map of meaning. When you stand inside those walls, you're not looking at rubble. You're looking at architecture designed to speak to the sky. Some places from the past aren't lost. They're still alive. Taos Pueblo has been continuously lived in for over 1,000 years. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But more importantly, it's home. The Tiwa-speaking Pueblo people still tend to these adobe walls, cooked in shared ovens, and preserve traditions through generations. You can visit respectfully. But remember, this isn't a museum. It's a living community. These weren't primitive ruins. They were palaces of science, cities of spirit, and many of their descendants are still here. It's time to meet the cultures that didn't vanish. They adapted, evolved, and continue to thrive. The signs say Navajo Nation, but the people call themselves Diné, meaning the people. Their homeland spans 27,000 square miles across Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico, larger than 10 U.S. states. And while tourists come for Monument Valley or Canyon de Chelly, there's more here than just scenery. There's storytelling passed down in woven rugs, philosophy in the architecture of a hogan, language that's still spoken, sung, and sacred. The culture didn't vanish. It lives. You just have to learn the name, Diné. A powwow isn't a performance. It's a prayer in motion. It's color, rhythm, regalia, and reunions. Families travel hours to gather, dance, sing, and honor ancestors and traditions. If you're invited, go with respect. Watch, learn, listen. Ask before you take photos. Stand when the drum starts. Because this isn't a show. It's a celebration of survival. Want to understand a culture? Taste its food. From fry bread and bison stew to blue corn mush and salmon over alderwood. Native cuisine is rooted in geography, tradition, and survival. Today, chefs across Indian country are reviving ancestral recipes with flair and respect. You can try them in places like New Mexico's Pueblo Harvest Cafe or during tribal festivals across the U.S. This isn't fusion food. It's cultural memory on a plate. Long before lacrosse was a college sport, it was a spiritual test. Stickball, played by the Cherokee, Haudenosaunee, Choctaw, and others, was used to train warriors, settle conflicts, and honor their spirits. Fields stretched for miles. Hundreds played. No pads, just strength, speed, and soul. Today, many tribes still pass down the tradition, and lacrosse itself has become a bridge, carrying Indigenous legacy into modern arenas. It's not just a game, it's a gift. Scattered across Petroglyph National Monument in Albuquerque are more than 24,000 symbols etched into stone, left by ancestral Puebloans and early Spanish settlers. Some show animals, others journeys. Some still defy translation. These aren't random doodles. They're messages across generations, like text from the past. You can hike the trails to see them up close, but don't touch. These rocks don't just hold carvings, they hold voices. For every sacred celebration, there's also sorrow. For every thriving tradition, a trail of loss. Some sites aren't meant to inspire wanderlust, but reflection. Let's travel into truth with open hearts and quiet steps. It looks like a peaceful trail now. Green trees, still air, birdsong. But along this path, over 60,000 native people were marched west, at gunpoint, in winter, without food or protection. The Trail of Tears uprooted entire nations: Cherokee, Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and Choctaw. Forced relocation, families broken, elders left behind. The Cherokee call it Nunahidona di Elohulawai, the trail where they cried. Today you can walk segments of it, but don't rush. Let the silence say what words can. Wounded Knee, 1890. A massacre that ended the Indian Wars and began an open wound. Hundreds of Lakota men, women, and children were gunned down by U.S. troops after they had surrendered. Their bodies lay frozen in the snow. Today, there's no gift shop here, just a memorial, a cemetery, a silence that sinks into your bones. It's not a tourist stop. It's a place of remembrance and a call to never forget. Tule Lake has two painful stories. First, it was the final chapter of the Modoc War, where Modoc warriors were hunted, captured, and imprisoned for defending their land. Later, during World War II, it became a Japanese internment camp, holding thousands of U.S. citizens in violation of their rights. This land saw two generations locked away for who they were. Now it's a historic site, quiet, powerful, heavy with memory. Some places don't need signs to be sacred, just presence. Tourists come to Mission San Juan Capistrano for the gardens, the architecture, the history. But beneath the elegance lies exploitation. The Ahashiman people were forced to build it, forced to convert, forced into labor and silence. Their story still echoes through the stonework. It's in the tools left behind, the traditions that survive, the language that refuses to die. This mission holds two stories, one of beauty and one of burden. Honor both. The Chiricahua Mountains are breathtaking. Stone needles, hidden canyons, endless sky. But this wasn't just a natural wonder. It was a battleground of freedom. For decades, the Chiricahua Apache, led by Geronimo and Cochee, used this maze-like terrain to resist U.S. military forces. They knew every ridge, every stream, every place to vanish. You can hike here today, but tread with reverence. This was a homeland worth dying for, and many did. Canyon de Chelly is stunning, but don't be fooled by its beauty. It was once the site of the Long Walk, where Navajo were captured, marched 300 miles, and imprisoned. But the canyon also resisted. People hid, survived, returned. Today, the Neff family still farm here. Guides still tell stories passed down like seeds in soil. It's not just a canyon, it's a cradle of resilience. We've traveled through stone and silence, through celebration and sorrow. We've seen that Native America isn't a vanished world. It's a living one. It exists in landscapes, languages, traditions, and truth. So when you travel, don't just visit, witness. Seek out Native-owned tours, support tribal communities, and learn before you go. Ask questions with care. Listen more than you speak, because these places aren't just beautiful, they're breathing. And if you go with humility, you won't just come back with photos. You'll come back changed.